Resident Evil 6.
Hello there, Seraphim17 once again, introducing you to my Resident Evil 6 professional difficulty video walkthrough. This is Leon's campaign, this is the 4th chapter of it, and this is a recycled boss fight from the cathedral we were in, from the church. It's the same infector, like bullet spitting back, stupid floppy enemy as always. The difference is now you're on a plane. A couple of things to watch out for. It can be extremely difficult to kite this boss in certain circumstances. Sometimes he'll go for the AI partner, sometimes the AI partner is not very good. There's a lot of issues, like he can continuously run, you have to stop, shoot and then turn and run, so you can't really deal too much damage to him in a really quick succession. But if you go to the front where the pilot is, you can pick up the Lightning Hawk, which is the Magnum equivalent of this game. Not a fan of the name, not a fan of the fact that it's a Desert Eagle, and you know, it's taking place of the Magnum. Even though the Desert Eagle does fire, I think, Magnum rounds, so technically you can call it one. But this gun is key to solo Resident Evil 6. I managed to save as much ammo for it as I could for some of the bosses coming up, and it definitely made them a little bit quicker. I perhaps could have shot them more, but my biggest problem when I play these games is I've already done the run I'm about to record, so I already know which bits are going to be difficult. And because they were difficult my first time around, I kind of fear them, the recording run. So I get overly conservative towards those situations, and when I get there, I generally find that my experience my first time through has helped me to beat them much quicker and much easier. So I saved about 20 Magnum rounds for the very final stage of the very final boss of Leon's campaign, the thing that just will not fucking die, and I didn't really need them, because a lot of that fight can be done with like quick time events, and my throat's got all funny, so I'm going to pause the video and cough. Where the fuck did that come from? But you'll notice I'm getting clipped. This is by no means a perfect run of these fights or these areas. If I'm completely honest with you guys, I'm not even enjoying recording this game. It's a chore, and it sucks because it stops me from doing it as quickly as I would like to. And there's actually a problem with this guide. The train fight against the last boss character, the last phase of that fight, the capture failed, and on this game you can't go back to specific chapters, you can't select them, you can't do anything like that, so I would have to play through the chapter again to get to it, and I'm just not willing to do that because I don't like Resident Evil 6 at all. I think it's a bad game, and what's going to happen is luckily enough the sequence is dead simple. All you do is stay in cover, shoot the boss. When he rips all the cover out, you have to shoot the boss. When he lines up with you, dodge away from him. Repeat ad nauseum until you either get bored or the boss dies. And it's pretty simple, but I will not have video to back it up, unfortunately, because like I say, the capture screen froze, and I didn't realise while I was fighting, because you can't pause this game unless you're playing in like fucking super private offline system link I don't want to be able to pause the game mode. Really strange. But I'm going to try and hold back as much of the venom that I have towards this particular installment in the Resident Evil franchise, as my thoughts are pretty transparent when it comes to this game, and I think people know what they are so far, so there's no point flogging a dead horse, because at this point the dead horse would be burned and buried and I'd never go near it again if I didn't have to. But we're moving back through the plane, so you want to be scrounging for as much ammo as you can, combining your herbs, all that good stuff. Do bear in mind that everything you have right now carries through the levels, so if you want to be conservative with specific things, feel free to do so. I always go back to the pistol, because you seem to always have quite a lot of pistol ammo, and it saves the bigger things for bigger situations. And at the end of the game, there is a chain of about 3 boss fights, and each sequence of these boss fights can take an insane amount of punishment, and it's not very good design, but it's what it is, it's what you've got to put up with, and hopefully you will have an easier time than I do, or you'll get lucky. But some of the fights coming up are, you don't even feel like you're fighting, you feel like you're waiting for something to die, because they take so much punishment and they don't even give you any feedback as if it's working. It's such a strange thing that they've got going. And there is a patch coming for this game, but For it to fix everything that's wrong with it, it would need to be 10 times bigger than the average Battlefield patch, and the average Battlefield patch is bigger than most games, so that's not going to happen. But what they are fixing is the perspective, because you'll notice that the cameraman, for whatever reason, is so far up Leon's arse, you'd think he wants to kiss his neck and inhale his bloody aftershave, and I don't know why they've chosen it, because it just makes it feel weird. When you come back from playing a different game with a better perspective, you play Resi 6 and immediately the camera feels off. It feels like there's something wrong. And I said this from day one, and apparently it looks like either the Capcom have listened to the complaints or someone in Capcom's actually played the fucking game and realised that it's a problem. So they're actually patching the perspective so that the camera's going to pull out so we can see the full profile of Leon, and it makes it immediately look like a much more accessible game. But this is Mr., you know, deflect bullet guy. He's a pain in the ass, but this sequence here, you don't really have to shoot him. You can stun him with the gas like I just did, and then you can open that closet behind him. And you'll notice I make the mistake of running into the gas, and both the cylinders went up, but I get really lucky here because the boss goes after Helena. And Helena can't die, so fuck Helena. Let's just open this and, you know, get to the end of this stupid sequence. Because this enemy was not good the first time around, let alone, you know, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and it's the same with the last boss. And I'm actually uploading a video which shows you how ridiculous the last boss is, because he comes out of nowhere, because the people who writ the plot, you know, if you blink you miss it, so they didn't do too much work. And don't even get me started with these sequences. Whoever designed the kunai climb of this game should be shot. He should be took in front of everybody else, all the programmers, all the animators, all the people that make the things work, and shot. And if anybody makes something as diabolically bad as that, they get shot too. You know, it's that same scene. I work for Oskar Schindler, bang! The guy still shoots him, doesn't give a fuck. That's what should happen to the dude that animated that, because it's terrible. Well, actually, sorry, the animation is fine. The animation is perfectly fine, but the inputs to do those QuickTime sequences are just bullshit. And the way that I do them, which seems to work, is literally hold both the triggers at all times, and then whichever one is glowing on the QuickTime event, or depending on which arm Leon is not using, just release it slightly and press it again. And do it like that, so you hold both of them and you just release, press, but always have them both held. That way you should never fall. Because if you were like me and you tried following that sequence just by pressing them, you fall all the time, and there's a massive cable you've got to climb at the end of the game. And how that made it into the finished product is pretty much the personification of what is wrong with this game. And it is just glorious. Absolutely glorious. If I could have captured my first time through with my buddy, when we were sat in his room, we'd had a few beers, a few monsters, we were doing that sequence, and we were in tears because it's so crap. It's so bad. It really is. As this dude does a couple of Australian punches, nearly knocks a few teeth out, but he gets a dropkick for the trouble. The only real thing that's going to challenge you in this area is the camera and the unsuspecting zombies, so you always want to make sure that, you know, when you get near a corner, somebody doesn't do that, just randomly jump at you. But take your time, do the quick shot, do the execute, and fingers crossed you should be fine, because this is trivial compared to those sequences against that stupid boss. And before anybody says anything along the lines, I don't have anything against recycling bosses. One of my favourite game series of all time recycles bosses, which is Devil May Cry's. They do it. Dark Souls does it. You know, Ninja Gaiden does it. A lot of good games recycle bosses, but the boss fights intrinsically have to be fun, challenging, or decent as far as their design. And the thing with this game is they are none of that. And that's the crime right there. That's the problem with it. It's not the fact that they've done it, because Capcom's been lazy for fucking years. I mean, just look at all Mega Mans they pump out. The only, well, I'm not going to say that, the only decent one, because they are good games, I just don't like the 2D ones. The one I liked was the 3D one, the Mega Man Legends, that apparently got some of the worst reviews and critics ever. And yet, if you played it, it was a perfectly serviceable action RPG, and I had a lot of fun with it. And yet, you know, universally laundered, in the press, which is why you should never ever follow reviews, because the only person that really should be writing reviews is yourself, because everyone likes something different. And as I say this, I'm getting my ass kicked, and I'm doing a couple of low kicks for good measure, just to tempt fate. As soon as you go to the red bar, you need to pop some of the Tic Tacs to bring your life back, because if you don't, you will be one-shot. It happens a lot. It's... ugh. This game... like, look at this. Who needs that? Who needed that in to make them feel better about themselves? Like, if we could only have a super anticlimactic fall down the stairs moment right here, I think that'll really accentuate the tension of the scene. Like, who the... it's ridiculous. And you can tell I've not played this game in a while, because the first time I do, all the fucking pent-up rage is just coming out. And I can't help it. I just can't, I'm afraid, because the sequences in this game that make absolutely no sense. They really don't. Like this one. The concept of flying like a 747 that's crashing into a city is a cool idea. But you don't do it like this. It's like, what the fuck were they thinking? And speaking of that, this is all QuickTime events, folks, and I fucked them up because the hit detection on the QuickTime events on this game is garbage. I expect nothing less. They are really bad. And this is coming from somebody who 5-starred every song, not every song, sorry, every Korea song on Guitar Hero 3 on Expert. So, it's not my timing, guys, it's the game, and it's the input. It's just not great at all. It's just one of them things. Like, every time I play this, I wish I'm fucking playing a Guitar Hero. I wish I'm playing a Guitar Hero on a song that, you know, used to kick my ass, like The Devil Went Down to Georgia. But instead we get this. Tap X to do something. Ooh. At least Uncharted hides it with fancy and awesome moments. This game doesn't even try. God, I hate this game. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope it helped. Fingers crossed you're close to ending this torture. You take care now.